Matt, you like spicy Cheetos, right? And I said, yeah, I like spicy Cheetos. The hotter the better. And he was like, well, have you tried dill Cheetos? And then Alex said some inappropriate things that our sponsors, Johnson Plastics Plus, probably wouldn't like.
They did. It was great.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Welcome to
Hey,
the
hey, hey.
Podcast, the #1 podcast if you like pudding packs. Like,
Pudding packs.
bro, I've been fucking up some puddings lately. That's so true, dude. And the worst part is,
the show
I totally, dude, I totally got Miranda on that shit too. So she's been like getting down on the pudding packs.
So she's yelling at you, being like,
I got you.
Pudding pack, yes, snack packs.
So
Yeah.
You like a butterscotch guy or
Butterscotch, like
tapioca?
like a Werther's original.
You like the chocolate, the vanilla? What kind of snack pack guy are you?
Chocolate, dude. Obviously.
You guys know we're doing
vanilla. Who eats vanilla snack packs?
I do if there's chocolate mixed in, like
That's
the 2-layer or like
No.
the 3-layer where it's like chocolate, vanilla, chocolate.
Wrong. Incorrect.
No, it's actually
Somebody
very
should
correct.
probably ping this to people. I don't even think anybody knows that we're here right now.
Hey, if
I'm
you'd like to
wondering.
sponsor our podcast, Snack Pack, get at us.
Speaking of Johnson Plastics Plus,
Snack Packs.
they sent me some big boxes, so we'll get to open
Of
those
snack
really
packs?
soon. No, I mean, I wish that'd be nice. Thank you for advertising for
They
us.
might just get you to
Here's
shut up and start talking about their stuff.
some pudding. Don't choke on it. No, dude, they're huge boxes, and Rihanna wanted to open them up today, and I was like, nah, we have to. Got to do it on camera. It's got to be legit. I'm not a good like faker. I know some guys can like just do unboxings and just pretend they're seeing shit for the first time, and that I am not. That is not a skill that I
You're
have.
not the guy who can find out you have something in a box and then pretend you don't know what it is.
Yeah, like
He's got some for you, Kyle.
Huh?
It's a dill in a box. Is that what it is? It's my
No.
dill in a box.
Coca-Cola is clearly the dream sponsor, but I don't think they'll be sponsoring our podcast. So, but yeah, so we have two. They're like hip height boxes filled with
What the
stuff.
hell?
I'm assuming I did,
Hip hype box. You got it right, Matt.
dude. I'm telling
Told
you, like I almost cried to Jackie on the phone when she sent me the like nerfed up like rainbow tumblers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And I was like, we really wanted to like do these on cam. Like, please, like these are great. Like this is cool for like some testers. And I think she like rubber banded and like sent me like 50 of them. So it'll be cool to play with on like a bunch of different machines.
That would
I
be
think
cool to
that'll be
see.
cool.
Like, you know how you've been doing like the slate, like all the different materials on all the different lasers? That would be cool
Yeah.
to do tumblers that have prismatic under like the underlayer.
Yeah.
Just saying on all the different ones.
Yeah, I did that for their regular tumblers, like
Mhm.
testing all the different colors
Yeah.
to see what kind of variation in settings there would be. There was virtually none. That was shocking. But I have that too. That'll be out right after the Color Shop Woods, which we just finished the rough cut of this morning. I had Rhiannon go in and like try to sort through. I had a file started, but it was just kind of like random nonsense, and she went in and instead of sorting it by laser or by material type or whatever that we normally do, she sorted it by project, because with this material I actually did a couple of little projects. You guys saw them, right? You saw the Bodiford apple. I think we talked about it a little bit
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 different products we do, and then some additional laser testing. And she went in and like actually organized it by project and got it in like chronological order that way. So I think that'll probably be the most fun way to watch it. So that's done. It just needs a voiceover and a little pinch of salt and pepper, and it'll be good to go. So that's coming out this week for
Salt and pepper's here. Sorry.
It's all good. I enjoyed it. Oh, how long did it take you to get there from Earth, Anthony? That's pretty crazy.
4.3 parsecs.
Is it? Did you
That's actually
have to?
distance, you idiot.
Is this like your?
Asshole.
The Kessel Run. Is this the place that you escaped the robot revolution to? This
Yeah, I had to go to Jupiter.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's the robot revolution.
Yeah.
It was too
That was my
intense, and I
favorite
was
one.
like, it's time to board a SpaceX flight to the third moon of Jupiter.
Cool.
You can tell because it's got 3 brown spots. If it was 1 brown spot, it'd be Uranus. So it's Jupiter. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
I'll
welcome.
keep that in mind when I'm trying to tell the difference down the line.
That's so good. He's so proud of himself. He's like, oh yes, delivered with perfection.
Anthony gives you the knowledge you need to know you're looking at Uranus when you're looking at Uranus.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man.
#1 Uranus expert here, brought to you by Johnson Plastics Plus.
Don't forget the code YLRZDF.
Hey, you got it.
Yeah. Or
Nice.
check the description in case it's changed.
That's a good one. Kyle, are you still injured beyond recognition?
Not beyond recognition, but I can't really stay sitting up in front of the camera.
Oh,
You'd
so you're
be
doing the
looking at my bald
blobfish
spot.
and you don't want anybody to see it.
Well, no, the camera would be staring at the wall. It wouldn't even be blobfish on camera. It would be bobfish below camera.
Oh, bummer.
Hey,
You guys
Donald.
remember the blobfish, right?
I'm improving though, which is nice. Slow
Good.
improvement, but improvement.
I'm glad. Did you start moving stuff yet?
Yeah, I took a couple trips of stuff over, and we're kind of getting things settled. And
Can you? Miranda told me very, very briefly about it, but I'd like to hear about the chair real quick.
what chair?
The chair that you drove to New York City to pick up.
Oh, that's an off-stream story.
Ah,
Uh-oh.
So there's this guy who's got a chair and it fell off a truck. Sees.
No,
basically,
there
Kyle
was
drove
definitely no truck.
3 hours to go pick up a chair in New York City. That's the short version of the story. Look at all the chat people today.
Yeah, it's just me.
It's waking up.
It is waking up.
Poking him. Let's go.
I mean, technically,
I like
we're
it.
still like 10 minutes early, so
Yeah,
people are starting to kind
everyone was probably not expecting us
People
to be
are like,
remotely
oh my
on
God,
time.
Guys, did you see this? By the way,
Yeah.
this is cubing. I'm on my business account. It's
Whoa, been
B
engraved.
engraved. Get
Yeah,
it?
That's Bronson.
Been engraved.
Bronson engraved. Smart.
Been
Clever
engraved.
name.
He's doing some big things up there in northern Iowa, representing.
See.
Are there big things to do in northern Iowa?
Yeah,
Hmm.
snowball fights and corn husking.
The tri-annual Corn Fest.
Never mind. I was
The
gonna say something.
robot revolution.
By the way, Donald in chat. This is his first time hopping on a live, and he said he's very happy to be here. That we're not
Welcome.
What up, Donald?
Dwayne.
60
Nathan
watt
says,
MOPA.
Yeah, Momport GI 60 watt MOPA. I'm hoping to learn enough to start participating in the coin challenges.
Yeah.
Anthony,
the whole
that's it.
That's the
Oh,
whole
go
thing
ahead.
about the coin challenge is you don't have to know a lot to participate. The whole point of it is to learn while you do it.
Mhm.
So dive in there, experiment. It's not just a challenge against other people. It really isn't even intended to be. It's a challenge to improve yourself and your skills.
Yep.
You
And
know
it's
that
also
that's
a
the
place
case
where
because there are
people-
no prizes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's also a place where people will make fun of you relentlessly because they care. They'll make fun with you. That's how I look. At least I feel like that's what happens when I post stuff. People are like, "Hey, that's a coin."
Hey Matt, I think your mic just took a dump.
Yeah, I think it
Mhm.
just died
Oh,
live
good.
on air. Oh, no, hey,
there you
you're
go.
back. There you go.
I fixed
What'd you
it
say?
with my magic.
Oh. Anthony, if you had to give like 3 top pro tips for getting started with the coin challenge, what would they be? Like they could be like resources or an attitude, a mindset, or anything else. What would your top 3 pro tips be?
My first one straight up would be find a good source for coins. There are a lot of like poop tier design zinc plated coins that you can buy for like $1.75 a piece, and you're gonna get them in and they're just gonna look like garbage because as soon as you get through that top layer, that it's like brass, but it's brass coated zinc alloy, it's just going to look like hot trash. So
It's
make
like
sure
pot
you
metal
go.
underneath half the time.
What's that?
It's like pot metal underneath half the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah, that
When you're
zinc
cooking
alloy.
it with a brass setting because you're expecting it to be brass, it's just burning the hell out of it.
Yep, exactly. So if you start off with a good, like, I personally really like Umbery. A lot of people have some other sources that they go through. Swiss Buoy makes some really good coins as well.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah. So I'd say
At least
start
in
off with a good
America.
coin, and then not to try and like pump myself up, but I did a video on doing like SVGs versus like a 3D grayscale image. And if you watch that, it'll kind of give you some basics on both and how to run through those and get a
People
good
can
result.
find that at the Beam It Up Laserworks YouTube channel.
Yep, they sure can.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, they can. Yeah.
Yeah. And number 3 would be
Wait, what was number 2? Your YouTube channel?
yeah, to watch that video. Yeah.
Okay.
Number
If
two,
you watch the
turn
video,
this
it's gonna-
garbage off and go to my channel.
No, not right now, obviously.
First
but,
of all, buy
eventually
good
you get
coins.
with it.
Second of all, unsubscribe from this trash.
My channel,
How do
we
you-
talk about SVGs. These guys, snack packs.
I'm just saying, if you watch the video, then it'll help out.
Word.
And then third would be just practice. And
Learn to learn, baby.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
The only thing that I would interject into that list would be about the did you call them poo tier coins?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're on the tier of poo?
I know. I should probably just say shit tier
Yes.
because
Because I'm here.
Somebody might
Yeah.
think
Because I
shit tier is
exist.
S tier, and that's usually good though.
So the shit tier coins, I will say, are very good for practicing alignment.
Files.
I was at more files, but I was going to say alignment. You don't want to blow Umberies on bad alignment jobs.
no, for sure.
that's-
Not when they're
Until
like,
you like know what you're looking at and you've gotten into the habit of like dialing that alignment in really, really well to the point where you can like eyeball it and you're confident. Like the poo tier coins are like, I think the best for that practice, because then when you botch 50 of them, you're out $50 instead of 300 or whatever.
yeah,
So
that's very true. Yeah.
And just in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, so this is one of like the $1.75 coins you can get. I mean, you can literally see that these have been stamped out, and you can see the like there's actually like here in the center, almost like a ridge.
Mhm.
So that's going to cause some issues when you burn through it. And then there's this edge that's kind of been like put onto it somehow. And it comes with these little cases. So you think, oh, cool, it's got a little case. It's going to be great. Not so great. Then you've got these. They're actually taken from a brass rod. And you can actually, Swiss Buoy has, or Buoy Swiss, however you want to say it, actually has the video where these are made from solid brass, copper, and steel rods. And you can actually see the machine. I mean, you can see the machining on it. Really, really nice. And all the different tooling that's put onto it to make that knurled edge. So
yeah.
all from solid stock. So you know that as you go through, you're going to have a nice even coat or an even thickness to like actually burn. So
Those are like
And-
two very extreme ends of the spectrum too.
Yeah.
Like you got one that's just like probably brass plated zinc, and the other one that is solid brass that was turned on a $30,000 CNC machine
oh yeah.
that somebody makes like high quality watch parts with, I think, on
Yep.
their spare
And
time.
the
so.
only one who just watched Anthony dive like a foot down. Like, was that
We're
the
having
camera?
Yeah, we're having technical.
Hey, listen,
I
gravity
thought that you pulled the lever on your chair for a second. And
I'm
just
like-
went,
gravity on Uranus gets really shitty.
it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, indeed. That's where you find all the poo tier coins, actually.
for sure. That's the
Um,
postmark.
The little
well,
nugget.
I'm sure that Anthony would love it if you or anybody else wants to join him over in the Coin Challenge channel. And if you're looking to just learn and absorb without participating in the Coin Challenge, there's the Coins channel as well, which is the main exchange of information on coin marking and engraving. So,
Mhm.
and that's one of the busiest channels on the entire Discord. So,
Yep.
definitely don't skip that.
While it is just coins, you can take the lessons you learn from that and apply it to other things, which
Mhm.
is also part of the point.
Also, we have like 8 billion other channels, so if you don't care about coins, there's other stuff there for you too. And it's free.
Yeah.
Mark Wood, thank you for the star, Kyle, says, good evening, gentlemen. Still learning EasyCAD 3, and I have a 50-watt 2.5D JPT. Where do you buy good brass coins? Oh, did we say this one already? Did
We
pull this
didn't.
up or
It,
not?
it
Oh,
came up
okay.
right as we started talking
Cool.
about it.
Umbry and Swiss Buoy. There's links to both on lasereverything.net. Actually, I think it's makearmy.io. If you click buying guide at the top,
They're all
go
linked
to
together.
coins. It's all linked. It's linked everywhere. And if it's not linked, then
It's in the description too. I'm sure.
it's in the. Oh, Kyle's putting it. You're putting it in the description right now.
No, the buying guide's in the description.
Oh, the buying guide is in the description. Indeed,
And-
it is. And if it's if you can't find them, it's Umbry and Swiss Buoy. We don't get paid anything to talk about their stuff. We just really like it. So you can just Google it. It's right there in chat for
Is
you too.
Umbry English or is he American?
Umbry's
American.
in
They're
New
from, like,
Jersey,
Yeah, Jersey.
Swiss
Oh no, I'm
Buoy's
thinking of the other
from
guy from England.
Canada.
I think
Yeah,
he's in like
Swiss,
Detroit.
Swiss Breeze
isn't
in
he?
Michigan. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in
Is he
Michigan.
in Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Boyce, when he found out he was like local, was like, "I'm gonna go find him," and I was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, dude, go find him. Take all the coins."
Yeah, when I ordered from them, it came from Michigan. It was really quick. They've got
Nice.
great shipping, and
Cool.
yeah, Umbry's the same way. And Umbry has like really cool, like very niche coins. Like I did that super.
hexagonal ones and all kinds
Yeah.
of weird
Superconductor
shit.
and
and
the-
titanium.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that superconductor coin, and I've done some titanium coins from him too that are just phenomenal. So
Yeah.
yeah, very good stuff.
Yep, good stuff across the board. We didn't do like what's up, guys? Who's doing what?
Did you
What's
say hi
good?
to all the peeps?
We've kind of been saying we didn't start with a full room, so I didn't do it all at once, but we've been kind of going through the list. I talked about what I'm doing, which is videos. What are you guys doing?
Hit it, Anthony.
I'm just trying to get back in the rhythm. I've been doing a lot of on the road stuff. Kids had spring break, and so we were
yeah.
like road tripping it and doing stuff. And I've just been kind of all over the place. So I'm trying to get like back in the groove and get stuff going again. So I'm kind of just in a moment of flux.
You were road tripping? Where'd you road trip?
Just all over the place, dude. Just locally, but like day trips and stuff
Nice.
like that. So
Good.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
we're
good.
we're hoping to hopefully this summer still make it to LBX. We'll see. Other than that, we have
Are you
some
gonna
other
fly
trips.
or drive there?
Probably drive because there's like 53 of us that have to go. So, I'll be renting a school bus and driving out there.
I
So-
figured you would just teach them how to hitchhike this year. Like, listen, pair up, right? And at some point, just
safety numbers, yeah.
Yeah, overtake the car driver and take the vehicle. We'll sell it. We'll make money to pay for food in New York. It's
Oh
gonna
my
be a
God.
win.
If/when I have that many kids, I really want, and Miranda wants like a Sprinter
already had
van,
that.
but I really want one of the old like 80s Chevy Imperials with like the curtains.
Oh,
on the
those are good
windows.
ones.
Those are, dude, they're cool. They're just
The
Like
the
the
conversion
18 van.
You want a
yeah, dude.
conversion van.
Yeah,
you want to
those
roll
things
up
are
like
sick.
the A-team. That's what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly
I
what I want.
love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
instead of a cigar, it'll just be a vape.
Why does it smell like Fruit Loops?
Because that's the smell of democracy.
If
What
I
about
ever
you,
had
Matt?
more than 3 kids, I would buy a 12-passenger like bus, like a decommissioned school bus.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a CDL for that, at least in my state.
You'll look CD
and
as
then-
hell. Is that what you said?
No, CDL, like a commercial driver's license.
Kyle just pulling up, being like, "I'll take you, children, Anthony. Let's
no,
go."
No. But the benefit to that is a lot of them have the handicap lift. So if I have to like bring anything home, like wood or whatever, from like Home Depot,
Oh,
Bam.
yeah, that's a good idea.
don't
Yeah.
even have to lift it.
There are some churches and stuff locally that have been selling their used vans online on like Facebook, and I've come so close to trying to pull the trigger on one to have like a mobile laser platform and
Yeah.
having that
Oh, good
handicap ramp. You could just like throw stuff up on, lift it up, and then slide it in. That'd be dope.
Anthony's making it sound really cool, but it's actually the Wet Bandits van from on set during the filming of Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
for
god.
sure. What
I
bandits?
can literally see Anthony with his wife driving and him lasering on the go. People driving next to him look
Yeah.
over. UV light refracts.
Blind.
Oh my god! This is straight up Chris Farley style driving.
Oh yeah.
So what about you, Matt? Laser's been on, or you just been teaching?
Oh no, I've been lasers on every night for the past week and a half, man. Like award season's going down over here, so we did a bunch of those, and they're all gone, so I don't have any to show. But it was just those things where actually I dropped one of the nameplates right here. Big dash. So this is one of the blank ones. But again, it's just brass plates. People love these things. Look for places that have the plaques where they just replace them every year. Because the nice thing is you can buy these and they can use the same hardware over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I just have them measure it and send me a picture. We make sure we get the right one. And then you can, I think about 100 of these, and I just got them stacked up in a drawer. And then the other thing that I did was, so this is always after teaching. This is why I don't exist anymore. Like I basically, the nice thing that I don't have to drive from school, I just turn my laptop down. But yeah, so I did glasses. I think I talked to you guys about last week that I had to do still. Had about 20 glasses that I got done. Did bottom engraving, which was really, really nice. And so that's where I set up a jig right here, right next to it. And you just push it right into the plastic 90-degree corner where basically it's going to the same spot every time. And it was 48 millimeters wide by like about 43 millimeters tall. So it fit really nicely dead center into the glass. So whenever they take a drink, it looks really, really frosty because you get that reverse engrave with the UV, which looks always really sick.
Now wait, hold on, I'm confused. Does bottom engraving have anything to do with Uranus?
No, not usually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So, but again, it could get pretty hairy. I think you know what I'm saying. All right. Sorry, allergies.
Oh my god.
So
Breaking your own joke. Come on.
I have to. I'm the only problem. I'm used to telling dad jokes and my kids being like,
He could wax poetic about this all night long, but
He could wax Uranus.
trying to think. So we did glasses, we did the brass. Shut up. And then I actually literally right before the show just got a text from a fire department, one of the guys who works for a local fire department, and he's like, "Hey, Sunday I'm doing a raffle and I want to give away some cups with this image in it. If it's not, I know it's like late asking, but I just had like the oh yeah that you do this, and I'm thinking about just donating like 3 or 4 of those. I have some like leftovers from different places and maybe some of those glasses too because it'd be really easy to do. But definitely work the angles, because fire departments they might not want anything from you right off the bat, but all the people who are going to be at this fundraiser will get to see your name and stuff like that. So
I do a lot of work with my local FD. They're constantly doing awards and they have unions and stuff like that. So like getting connected with them is a big deal actually. So if you have a local fire department, which pretty much everybody does, and you're trying to run a laser business, I'd say get in with them as best as you can. And because they'll bring you work constantly.
Well, and that's the other thing too is there's the wives of the people. I mean, there's everybody, right? So that's where you get into the whole thing. So that's my thought is like he asked for a donation. I know we've talked about that on the show before too. Like, when do you donate things? Why do you donate things?
I was actually just because you mentioned it. I was just thinking. It wasn't even that long ago. Maybe a month ago, we published the edit for an episode, and the thumbnail says "Give shit away." And we talk about it at length, like when the appropriate time is to give stuff away, how much you should give away, to whom. It's a good app. So if you haven't listened to that one, go check that one out.
Yeah, and the other thing is like all the extras that you have, because the nice thing is it's already sitting here, and if you mess it up, it's a write-off now because I can be like, oh, I gave that to charity. Because so that mess up that was sitting there costing you money on your taxes because you should be reporting it legally. Just saying. Like, that's why you don't have a lot of overstock, and it's a good way to kind of purge, So, anyways, that's what I'm up to, and I think, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm really excited to not have a lot of stuff on my plate. I'm not gonna lie. So,
good.
Good.
I feel like last week you were like literally juggling pieces. like while talking on camera.
Yeah,
So
I was trying to turn the mic off because I was still getting over the flu cough stuff, and then it was a lot going on. So
there
it's
was
good to just
always
say
like that was my goal when we were really busy and we only had the shop to worry about was like just cleaning the slate, and like having an empty shop for 5 minutes. And it always lasted like an hour or whatever. But like when you finally achieve it, it feels so good to be like,
Yeah.
oh, caught up. Like even if it doesn't last like 10 minutes.
It literally was like 15 minutes because I told Ashley goes, "Do you have anything to laser tonight?" Because like that was the nice thing is the shop where I went and delivered those glasses yesterday is right next to one of our favorite places to eat. So I was like, "Hey, I'm getting paid. Let's take
Nice.
some of the money and go get dinner." So that way it's just like my treat. And we go out. And I got back here tonight, and she's like, "Do you have anything to laser tonight?" And I'm like, "No, it's awesome." In like 15 minutes, dude. And it's the guy from the fire department. Which it's one of those things. It's good. It's a good thing to be annoyed by, but like
I'd rather that than like
nothing.
having like one job left and then like
That's
losing
what
the
those
streak.
glasses were. I
Like
got done with all
yeah,
that
that's the
brass, and I was
worst.
like,
I'm okay with being caught up for 15 minutes and then like losing the streak. What I don't want is to be like one job away, or like an hour left of like my last job and then like four more roll in and it just resets the stack.
yeah. So it's good. I'll do it tomorrow. Like I kind of picked out the pieces tonight. I'm going to give to those people. Like I found a coaster set actually from JP Plus. I'll look for it in a minute, but I found a coaster set from JP Plus and a couple of other things where I've got like I think I've got like some leftover like IKEA boards where like when they were $5, So it's one of those things that I'll put their stuff on there and make it look really sharp, probably with the CO2 Galvo. Give it like a really nice thin but dark engrave, and then it'll look really good. Something that pops and makes people be like, "Oh, he does cutting boards and stuff for the house." Ooh. Because springtime has come in and they want to make their, they got stuff to do. So be good.
Resin just said, I just cleaned the shop today and it felt so good. Gonna get messy again tomorrow. How often do you guys like do like deep cleanings, or is it like a constant just kind of shuffle to keep like enough workspace open to get stuff done?
I'm such a dirtbag. Whenever I'm doing a job, like I just throw stuff everywhere. And then as soon as I'm caught up and I have like a day to myself, then I'll go back through and clean everything up. But there have definitely been a few times where people are like, "Can I see your lasers that you work on?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, I've been working 3 weeks straight through this Christmas rush. I don't know if you want to look at my laser room."
1 second.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
Just
snow
go through there with
shovel.
snow plow it out.
So you are not a clean as you go person.
No, I'm a clean as the jobs are done, and then I'll go through and clean up. So like during Christmas time, you don't want to step foot in my laser room because it's probably you're gonna step on balls of tape and broken ornaments and all kinds of stuff. So
you took a long pause when you said "step on balls." I was like, "What?"
You never know.
Are you guys scrappers, by the way? Sorry, Kyle.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say,
what do you mean by scrappers?
Like, I will have products where like stuff is left over, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a keychain out of that. I'm gonna do something. It's just that I think it's part of it's just being a dude where you're like you keep stuff because you're like this serves a purpose.
You've got like a 3x4 piece of plywood that's like 9/10 used, but you have a little corner of it that you've got saved. Yeah,
the L, dude, the dreaded L. You know how many fucking L's I have of Romark? Literally, Romark. That's the biggest offender in my shop. I have an L-shaped like stack where it's just like most of the board has been cut away, but there's a little shred and then a little bit of a base, and they're all L-shaped in like a nice little like layout from like biggest L to smallest L, and they're like shoved in between shelves. I do that.
So what I do is like when you align something to cut out and you end up with an L as your remainder, you almost inevitably have these little like spider web pieces of the cutout left that are also connecting the rest of the L into a square. And I will break those off, or I'll run a cut at the same time as the job, and I will cut it out so I get a nice square out of it and the L falls off. And depending on how big that piece is, I will cut the L into 2 rectangles.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because then I can stack them. I can get them the hell out of the way. And I don't think I have a full sheet of something sitting behind something else because all I see is the side profile of it sticking up, you know?
Yeah.
Miranda says Alex thinks he isn't a hoarder, but he keeps everything. I brought the Sawzall home from the shop, and I cut up our old couch because somebody, and I'm not going to name names, not somebody who lives here, sat on my couch and broke it with their ass. So I had to cut the couch up
Rest
with the
in peace,
Sawzall.
Jimmy.
Because, yeah, Jimmy. Because we can't throw couches away in our dumpster or whatever, so I just chopped it up into a bunch of tiny pieces and threw them in contractor bags and then threw the couch away. But as I was like deconstructing this couch, I found the inner springs from like the like seats, the seat cushions, you know, and I was like, man, I gotta keep these springs. Springs are sick, dude. Like, I'm gonna find some. These have a purpose, and I'm gonna find out what they are, and I'm gonna have some sick ass springs. And Miranda yelled at me, and I had to throw them away. But I really wanted to keep those springs. I thought if anybody would appreciate that story, it'd be you guys, but apparently not.
No,
Well,
for sure. Like that's. the
I'm
kind of
just
thing.
letting you finish because I'm letting that resonate with me. But
He's
that's
letting it
the thing that you
marinate.
don't- Yeah, I mean, you don't know. It's honestly, you don't know what you need it for until you need it, because it's one of those things. Like, I had a person the other day who said, "Hey, I'm looking for like 50 $1 keychains," and I'm like, $1 keychains, like, because they're doing like some kind of a seminar or something, but they want something that has a QR code on the back, and they did like a little drawing art thing on the front. And so I was like, well, I have this black acrylic that it's just been sitting here. And I said, how big are they? And they said, you know, like 1 inch by 2 inch. And I'm like, okay. So I literally just cut a little tiny design with a place for a key ring to go in, one of those keychain thingies from Crystal.
Right.
And then when I did that, the fiber laser can zap those things out in like seconds on black acrylic, and it looks awesome. Like, you get that goldish white creamy color. So I did that, zapped out those, and it was just stuff that was sitting here, you know. So 50 times 2, so 100 inches of plastic, and I don't even know what that would be worth, like $6-7, but you made $50 off it real fast. And it was a family member, so I didn't mind doing that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just so easy to do and to make money, you know. So
I had somebody hit me up on like a Thursday, and they needed a plaque by Monday, and I threw one together using literal scraps, like a piece of red oak that I had that was left over from a piece I'd cut out for somebody, and some black acrylic that I had laying around, and I managed to make a nice plaque out of it for a person. And you know, I was happy, and they were happy because they probably saved a couple $100 over, you know, one of these big companies, what they were going to charge for a rush order like that. So I mean, there are times that, you know, having hoarding, you know, could kind of benefit you, because you have this stuff to throw something together real quick, and you can charge a little premium because they're rushing you, but at the same time, it's not a huge inconvenience because you managed to have a little bit of something laying around. So it's
just hoard in your shop and not in your home. And then you're
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I didn't just do anything. The that Christmas tree episode though, I mean, that was a sample pack from JP Plus, but it was essentially a box of scraps. So, and we built that like entire project out of that with like tiny little.
You know what
pieces,
would kind of
like,
be
this
cool to
big.
do? You should make some boxes up and send it to us, and we should all do projects.
like
based
those
off of-
DIY people
Yeah.
on YouTube.
No, like chopped.
chopped. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where it's
like a
like,
chopped
what's in your
basket.
basket, Anthony? And you open it up, and you're like, fucking springs and snack pack lids.
That's hilarious.
Pine
You should
cone.
do
I'm
that.
not kidding you. That would actually be kind of dope that we open them live on one of the shows, and then we have
Yeah.
a week to put together something cool with
That'd
only
be
those
fun.
things.
I'd be down,
should do
dude.
that.
I'd
I would
100% be down.
Some of that JP Plus love.
Yeah,
Some
let's sprinkle
products.
some of that. Dude, I'm telling you, these boxes are like
Maybe you can add like
Huge.
one. We'll have to come up with rules, but they feel like that'd be pretty cool. Where you can have like one thing that you add. in
I'm gonna
case
put
you-
like one fucked up thing in there, like a CD, like an AOL online CD or some shit.
And it's like, all right, guys, so here you go. Hit it with the UV and you just go blind.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. It'll be great.
My
I
God.
like it. We'll have to come up with a clever name.
I'm struggling with the material hoarding too, because even though I chop stuff down and get rid of stuff, there's always good material to hold on to, right? And with moving, I need to like establish new shelves and like storage solutions at the new house.
Dude, I was gonna say, like, you have the best opportunity to get rid of a ton of that shit right now because it's actually gonna be like out in front of you, and once it goes into that new house, it's like I feel like half of it is never gonna be out in front of you again for the next decade. So like this is the premium opportunity, dude, to get rid of
the way
shit.
I'm organizing stuff. There is no like material that'll be hiding, so
that's nice. Imagine having space.
Yeah, it's nice.
Are your lasers still online at the old place?
Yeah. They're still set up at the old place.
Yeah. I want you to get moving.
Speaking of which,
get better.
I'm still. Well, once I can use my arm normally, it'll be easier to make it through more. But prior to injuring myself, I was working through the UV library, actually.
Nice. How far did you get?
I'm pretty deep. I have some more like core materials I want to get tested and marked that I haven't touched yet with it. That for my knowledge, just because I haven't messed with it really at all, but also because I just feel like so many people hit more than just glass, right? Like, so I want to hit as much as I can and include as much as I can before we.
Well, you have some time because in like early March, Chris and Rhiannon left to go to California because Chris had to go physically work in a cubicle at his office building in California for like 2 weeks. And then on their way back, they both got sick. They came to work for like 3 days, and then Rhiannon had like 103-degree fever. So I had to like chase her out with like a flamethrower from like a hazmat suit. And so she's been gone for like another week, and she just got back in. So like my entire workflow is super fucked up. But right before she left, we were in the process of adding everything from all of the like material episodes that we've been working on. And now we have the Color Shop Woods one coming up, and then the one after that is Tumblers. So we should have like a nice range of stuff to be able to add to that too. And of course, it's on the Ingu. So you and I are gonna have to like swap lists essentially and see
if we can get overlap to make sure that we have settings for both
to cover both. Yeah,
at least as much as we can for now. You can always add to it. But
I think so. I think the original message I posted about the UV library said March, but it'll probably be April, just because it's just been like nonstop
really means
with people
early
not
May.
being in the shop. No, April. I'm pretty solid on April. We've been actively working on it, and we have a good chunk done. And it's not building like a laser marketplace or anything, so it should be done on time.
Yeah.
It's consolidating work that we've done the majority of already.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll have more news for you guys on that soon.
By the way, there was a question because a minute ago I was just telling people, hey, you got 33 people watching. If you have questions about materials, if you've got questions about projects, pricing, anything, if you look at Laura, right above the hearts, said, sure, Matt, at the bottom. When using your fiber on the black acrylic, which lens am I using? So I use the 300 lens to do basically like a heat treatment on that, because the nice thing is usually opaque acrylics will actually, the fiber works. Dark opaque acrylics, if you try to, and also, on the white, you guys got the black marks, right? The gray marks. So you kind of get the reverse. You get like this creamy white golden color. If I can find one of the trophies that I made not too long ago, or I can find a piece floating around, I can do that for you guys. I literally last night, I threw away so much material yesterday that I've been hoarding, because it was getting smaller and smaller because I kept using it for like testing for like all kinds of stuff. So I finally threw it away. But the 300 lens lets you play with really, really high frequency and like low power, moderate power, to get some really clean, crisp designs.
I don't know if we were just like hanging out.
Christmas. At Christmas, I made like 50 ornaments.
Yeah, I don't know if we were like hanging out or if we were on a show. But like you did like a car one. I remember.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find a picture of that. But basically, one of the people that I work for, work for often, is he owns a motorcycle parts shop, and so he sponsored this huge, basically like Instagram post something or other, and he just needed like 6 trophies, but he wanted them to look really really dope. And so the cool thing is he actually has a graphic designer on his staff that made things down to the like 10th of a millimeter, because he wanted them to fit snug and stand up. So the CO2, the nice thing is I had no file design that I had to do besides connecting the points, a little bit of SVG cleanup. We did that, and then literally it's a trophy that was this big, like the size of a tire, and we put it under there. I think it was 11.6 inches, because I told him anything closer to that and you might start getting warpage and stuff like that. The heat gets applied wrong. So to me, like 11.5 to 11.75 was like the max that I felt comfortable with on a 300 lens. Doing all of that, it was awesome, dude. They're some of like the coolest trophies I've ever made.
Yeah,
and when you
cool.
set them in, what's really cool is like it's a flat black surface, mirror black surface. And when you put it in, the tire actually looked like a full tire, because the reflection was like 360. So as you got closer, it just looked cooler and cooler. And he was like, damn, I didn't even mean to do that. And I was like, just tell people you did. It was really freaking cool.
Some huge Instagram something or other is the oldest old man thing I've ever heard you say.
I don't know what it was. Like, it wasn't a giveaway. It was like I guess it was like people had to like it to, it was like a poll. It's kind of like the coin challenge.
It was like a popular demand vote.
Pretty much. And it's like Ruck of the Month is what it's called. And the other thing is like here, I'll show you this. So this is actually semi-opaque acrylic right here that I did this on. But so you can actually do stuff like this on semi-opaque. So you can actually see through like my fingers and everything, right? But this is with the fiber laser too.
Nice.
Yeah. So a little dusty, but
to be clear, the marking was done on the fiber.
Yeah, the marking.
Cutting was not.
Cut CO2, and then it fits together. I put some tape on it so that it holds, and so, but it's really nice. So I sent them a little strip of tape that was cut, and all that kind of stuff. But the CO2 cut and the fiber marked, and it just makes this kind of stuff really precise, and it makes it so much faster. Because I told him if I did this with CO2, it's going to come out white instead of gray, which is, he didn't want that like that
contrast.
Dichotomy,
Yeah.
And he also wanted it to cost way less. And I was like, yeah, the time on this one on a CO2 forever, on a fiber way cheaper. So he was like, yeah, that works. And so this is the style we've gone with for a while. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Noise. Resin, moving us along here. We only got about 15 minutes left tonight. Resin says, I'll be doing tests this week with my UV laser on enamel-coated brass urns. Any tips for me? Start with the lowest humanly possible amount of power. And by power, I mean, frequency and pulse width combination, because we're talking about UV. But, dude, start low and work your way up. The video that I uploaded that was like how not to engrave a Christmas ornament or whatever. You guys saw that one, right? Where just like that had enamel on it, and it's gross.
Enamel's tough, dude.
It's not a fun time if you overdo it. So if you think you're just gonna like blow through the enamel and then mark whatever's underneath it, you're not. I think what's going to end up happening is you'll probably never touch the brass with the UV laser. I think you're going to end up marking the enamel itself. I hear Kyle typing. He's like looking up an MS.
I was responding to something.
Oh, okay. Kyle's always like, that's poison.
Right.
But yeah, you'll probably end up marking the enamel, I think, and getting a decent mark that way before you ever actually touch the brass on that. So that's my 2 cents. Anthony, do you have anything to add to that, dude?
I tried getting through enamel with fiber, and it was a nightmare. So, yeah, I would say your best bet is, like Alex said, try to mark the enamel and just don't even try to mess with the brass.
Yeah,
Just mark the surface and be happy with it, because otherwise you're going to be chasing some wild dragon that's not going to be great.
Yeah, we did like eventually redo that ornament from that episode, and when we did, it was a mark on the enamel. It was like a white. We got like it was a like a medium gray silver was the color of the ornament, and it was a white on that, and I was like, take it off, we're done, like that's it, because I wasn't
yeah,
about
that
to
was a
buy
brutal
another
one.
one of those. So if you're gonna mark enamel, that would be my 2 cents.
A UV, I would imagine, would behave really well with it too, because my understanding with enamel, at least from way back when, is enamel, at least structurally, is very similar to like a ceramic glass
Yep.
almost when it's cured.
Mhm.
So I feel like if it behaves like that under the laser, it would mark really well with the UV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
UV
and I
would
think
probably be optimal.
I think that it does, but I think the problem ends up being like you just get heat build up so quickly, especially when one side of your enamel is backed by metal, that it gets out of hand like really, really quickly. So just remember, you can always add more power. You can always go slower, but you can't take away stuff once you've dumped it downrange. So just start really low and work your way up. You only need to get it right one time, and then you're done, and you can pull it. So that would be my advice on that. Benzum says, any benefits to MOPA over non-MOPA when deep engraving? You want to get technical, Kyle? You in a mood?
Yeah. I'll take this. So here's the thing with MOPA, right? So MOPA has to do with your power delivery, and it gives you the ability to up your energy downrange and keep it consistent. So when you're doing something like deep engraving, particularly with a pulse width unlocked laser, you are able to more effectively deep engrave, and you can speed it up by increasing your pulse width, which increases the time frame each pulse lasts. So, for example, where we would typically do like a standard stainless steel engrave at like 25 kilohertz or 30 kilohertz, and like whatever amount of power depending on the lens, that frequency has nothing to do with how long each pulse lasts. It only tells us how many pulses in a given second there are. So 30 kilohertz would be 30,000 pulses per second, but it doesn't tell us the length of time each pulse lasts. So having the ability to have a MOPA laser with unlocked pulse width gives you the ability to be more aggressive with your digging, so that you can do that. So a typical Raycus laser source, like a 50 watt Raycus laser source, has like a variable pulse width depending on your frequency of, I think it's like 110 to 130 or something. Whereas a JPT 60 watt, you can go anywhere from 1 to 500, and you can tell it what you want it to be, and it gives you just an added level of control. And for the same reason, if you're after colors, that is part of the draw as to why people go for that, for doing color marking on things like titanium or stainless, because you can control it at such a fine level. You're not relying on just frequency or working with like hacks of like defocusing to try and control your heat output without ablating. With deep engraving, it's more about how you're throwing that power downrange and how much of that power is effectively removing material versus just applying heat to it. So if you get too aggressive, for example, there is a fundamental stopping point where the material simply can't take more. It's like a stress point for the material, where if you go too hard too quickly and you're applying too much to it, and we see this with people who start with like a 60 or a 100 watt and they decide they want to go faster and they go out and they buy a 500 watt fiber, you can go faster, but the ability to go faster with quality, you hit a wall without extreme tuning and adding different, things. But
Yeah.
now we're moving outside of the context. But
Yeah, you're moving into like material science, like
Yeah.
how brass reacts to the infrared beams hitting it versus steel, which, brass might have an optimal pulse duration of like 150 nanoseconds at the peak kilohertz, whereas steel could have like a 200 nanoseconds at the peak kilohertz or whatever. And because of the way that they absorb the energy, there's only so much energy you can absorb at one point before you're just dumping straight heat and overheating the material versus, optimizing your use of that energy. So yeah, I 100% agree.
And the other thing to consider too is like once you get into that, like kind of like what Anthony's saying, like the material itself, is it a polished surface? Is it a burnished surface? Like that kind of stuff is huge when it comes to those highly reflective surfaces, because it can completely change the frequency that you need to use to get through some of the processes that are applied to them. The coins would be a great example, like we were talking about earlier. Those cheaper coins, you blast right through them versus the machine coins that have the polished surface, where you do need to kind of consider your frequency a little. Like, I mean, you can dig down deep, like you're talking about with the digging, like Kyle said, but then once you get through that, you do want to come. How do you get back to that nice look, or do you want the juxtaposition of that really rough engrave next to that very clean surface? So good points.
And anything that's copper based, like copper, brass, bronze, any of those are going to reflect a lot of light back. We had a guy that was on Discord asking why his galvo head started smoking, and it wasn't actually the galvo head. He was trying to cut brass, and it was the D25 connector that plugged into the back of his galvo head. The beam was reflecting back off of the surface and hitting the D25 connector on the back of his galvo and melting the plastic, and it started smoking.
It's really like take a paper plate and cut a hole the size of a lens and put it up.
Yeah, something, because that's wild, dude. Like, and I've myself, yep, exactly. You're definitely, eyewear is going to be so vital there. You should always have eye protection on anytime you're using one of these lasers, for sure.
This is an over explanation and probably isn't required for what we're talking about right now.
This is like true nerd shit.
There are limits to what Kyle described that are important to understand. So if we continue with the digging metaphor, if you set your frequency to 10 and Kyle can dig 10 holes per second, but you set your pulse width to, a half a second, there's a limit to how many holes Kyle's going to be able to dig at half a second. So at half a second with a frequency of 10 holes per second, Kyle can do that fine because each hole only takes half a second. But if you tell Kyle to dig 40 holes per second and you're telling him to spend half a second digging each hole, he's not going to be able to keep up with that rate, and frequency will take priority. So you're going to end up losing apparent power. Your beam is going to feel weaker because each of those 5-second digs is going to be cut short to a quarter of a second in order to fit all 40 of those holes in the amount of time that you specified. So it's not just set one and set the other, and they're not perfectly linear lines. They're it's like involved. It's more involved than that. So hopefully that time thing makes sense to you. If in general, and I pulled this up on purpose, you want to get a little bit more into this, or at least be able to refer back to it, less stream of consciousness and more written down. I did just answer a question similar to this on the LMA, and it was a good answer, so I saved it to the Make Army Wiki. I don't know if you guys have ever been here. Anybody can sign up for this site, and anybody can publish an article, which is super cool. I just added one under the frequently asked questions here, so if I click this, somebody asked, how do laser settings like speed, power, frequency, and pulse affect color marking? And while this question isn't specifically about color marking, it's about digging, both are directly related to your power density. And so I wrote an article, Laser Settings, Heat Generation, and Color Marking. So if you'd like to read a little bit more about it, this article does have a little bit more of a breakdown as to like how each of those things affects the energy density that you're experiencing. It does, in this particular article, relate it directly to color marking, which is almost the exact opposite of deep engraving. So you could just flip these and you'd have something that makes sense for deep engraving. Because when you're doing color marking, you want as much heat as possible with no ablation. And with deep engraving, you want as much as ablation as possible with no heat. So this is still a super relevant article, and I think that you would probably get some value out of it. So anyway, you can find that over at wiki.makearmy.io. I don't get to shout this out very often. As usual, it's 100% free, and it's a resource that's there for you. So make sure you go check out the wiki if you haven't done so recently.
And especially if you're messing around with a MOPA, every single, at least the reputable laser manufacturers that send out a laser to you should come with a spec sheet for your source. So if you have like, say, YDFLP 60E2, you know, you should get a sheet that says exactly how many pulse duration settings you have, which should be about 17. And each one is set like you're going to have 1, 2, 5, 20, 30. And so they're all preset pulse durations. And then each pulse duration has its own, what they call a cutoff frequency. And the cutoff frequency is as low as you can go where you're still making full wattage. So if you have a 60 watt machine and you have it set at 200 nanoseconds, your cutoff frequency is going to probably be around like 45 kilohertz. If you go to 30 kilohertz, you're actually not creating 60 watts of energy anymore because you're not delivering the number of pulses necessary to create the 60 watts of energy. So always refer to your sheet that you should get from your laser manufacturer that shows like what kilohertz ranges you can work with during each pulse duration. That's going to help you a lot instead of trying to work blindly and doing 1,000 test grids, trying to figure out what pulse durations and what kilohertz ranges work together.
Those are great resources too, just for the like comprehension of what we're talking about right now, because and they're not precisely bell curves, but they're very kind of bell curved shaped, those cutoff frequency charts. And you can see like, oh, okay, here we're not doing enough pulses to hit full power. And then we are doing enough with long enough pulses to hit full power. And then down the other side, you're like, okay, now I'm doing too many pulses to hit full power, and I'm not being able to do the entire duration of each pulse. It's very, very clearly illustrated on those graphs. And you can scroll. There's usually a few pages, because there's a lot of pulse width settings, a few pages where you can see those graphs shift to the right as you work your way through those pulse width settings, which is really great. And I touch on that a little bit, too, in that article that I just shared. Because I mentioned how I used to think that frequency allowed you to apply specific amounts of heat and pulse width was your fine control, but it's actually the other way around. The pulse width is what's allowing you to apply more heat without ablating, and then when you look at the frequency, you have a much wider, finer grained scale there to make fine adjustments to your actual like final heat values. It's pretty interesting stuff. It's a lot more than we can get into tonight. We have 2 minutes left. Of course, we're going to go over. We always go over. But I do want to get to the last of the questions in chat before we sign out for the night. So I'm going to force us to move along here. And I'm going to do so really quick while I'm still blabbing, and then we'll swing back around. I see this question from Mark. But Lynch is asking, LMA, how do you upgrade the membership to the next level? Click on the resource that you want, and then it'll say you can't have this, you need to upgrade, and then you can upgrade from there. It's actually pretty straightforward. So log in like you normally would, and then let's say you're looking for like the LMA parameter libraries. You would just click the download section and click the link to the downloads, and then it'll gate you and say you have to upgrade. Do you want to pick one of these tiers? One of these tiers will be enough to get you through. Generally, when people ask this question, they are looking for the libraries, for which right now, currently, you need the $15 plus membership level in order to access those perks. So I hope that answers your question, but if it doesn't for some reason, join us anywhere that's free, which is literally everywhere else, Discord, Facebook, whatever, and reach out to us and we can help make sure that we get you situated on that.
The other option on that too is you can click on your profile in the top right. So let's say you just want to support us more and you already have access to everything. You can click on your profile in the top right and click on your billing and plan information tab. And when you click on that, you can see your current plan and your past plan, and you can click on your current plan and update it to any one of the available plans, as long as you have a current billing method attached to your account.
Mark Wood says, is there any good EasyCAD 3 tutorials on deep engraving and using depth maps? All I find is videos with people clicking settings. Mark, that's because not a lot of people have the EasyCAD 3 board. So there just isn't as much content out there surrounding it. It is largely a manufacturing and like industry tool, less than like a consumer tool. So you don't see like a lot of YouTubers doing EasyCAD 3 stuff. And so there's a lot fewer resources out there for it. The one thing that there is, which we have on the website, lasereverything.net, and this is not going to sound like something I say very often because it's not, is a decent manual. We actually have like a decent copy of the EasyCAD 3 manual, and it's pretty good. It's much, much better. It's vastly superior to the EasyCAD 2 manual.
It's not something we're able to say often because it's not the norm in this industry to have a good manual.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why we exist.
Indeed. The EasyCAD 3 manual is pretty good, though. As far as doing depth maps, I'm not that good at depth maps. I know Kyle is okay. I think that Matt and Anthony are okay. I'm definitely not. And then when you take that and combine it with EasyCAD 3, then I'm just like totally lost. So if there's anything that you need help with as far as like artwork generation, STL conversion, things like that, I'm sure we could get you there. But once you kind of slip off into EasyCAD 3, that's when I'm personally going to start to drown. I don't want to talk for everybody here, but
I think that's fair.
I want to say that there is some sort of a 3D slicing plugin for EasyCAD 3, but I am not 100% sure.
My understanding is that EasyCAD 3 would support direct STLs as well, like object files. But I don't know because I don't have a 3D laser. So
I have 3 EasyCAD 3 control boards, and they are in none of my machines.
We have how to remove an EasyCAD 3 board.
Yeah, we do have a video about that if you want to downgrade. That said, I don't think any of us are against trying to help you work through that, and I can't again recommend the communities enough since we're on the topic, whether that's a paid membership over at the LMA supporting the channel or any of our free communities. They're both loaded with people that have tons of different system configurations, and there are definitely going to be people there that match yours and are going to have some input on what you're trying to do. So don't skip out on those resources. Please stay in touch because we can definitely help get you there, even if we can't give you the direct answer on our own. And I'm going to leave that one there. And then, oh my God, chat just keeps going, and I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can.
Bo the Maker has a good one about a solid gold deep engraving.
How far up is that?
Down at the very bottom. Roll. He's asked it twice.
Oh, Bo the Maker. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Super fast smoke show. I bought a 400mm lens for my 100-watt MOPA fiber laser. Any rough settings or suggestions? I know that I am probably on my own on this path that I chose. That's a Kyle question. Speed round, lightning round, Kyle.
You're very much one of the very few people who has a 400mm lens. Off the top of my head, I think I know of maybe 2 other people who have one. And I would have been the 3rd person I know to have gotten one if I put in an order when I was going to. But you beat me to it. They're uncommon for a reason. Your power density is going to drop significantly, and it's going to be exponentially more of a drop than you would expect going from a 200 to a 300, from a 300 to a 4. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is I can't give you any rough setting or suggestions on that because I don't even have a ballpark, because I don't even have a lens to test it.
If you took the library from the 200 millimeter scan lens, then you would require a factor of 4 more power in theory, right? For the
Probably,
400 millimeter
Yeah,
lens.
it's a 4 times multiplier because it's
Right.
4 200 millimeter
Ish.
lenses worth of
Ish,
area.
Optics and physics. But so you could start with the 200 millimeter library and then multiply the power required for all of those settings by 4. And you'll have to make some tweaks to the frequency ranges because your peak frequency is going to be way higher on the 100 watt than it is on.
Could they use Chris's converter for that?
Kyle's already done the work, so it's.
I don't know if I converted for a 400.
Yeah,
I don't know if our formulas even support that.
Okay. That's what I was wondering if it did or not, because it's Chris.
You can try. You can
try. I think you'll have better luck grabbing the 200 millimeter lens library and doing the factor of 4, and just directly scaling it. Make sure that your frequencies are in check. They'll probably be a little higher because that library was developed for a 30 watt laser, so you'll probably have to bump the frequencies up quite a bit. The converted libraries do not account for that difference in frequency. So you'll be at a higher frequency range and you'll be multiplying your power demand by a factor of 4, but it will be a starting place and hopefully a little bit of a shorter walk for you to try to get those settings down. So that's where I would start.
The only other thing I would say is don't try and do any seriously reflective materials with that, because you're asking for problems, for one, with just marking them, but for two, you're asking those reflections to come back and like melt your DB cable on the back of your head.
Or worse.
Because you're going to be throwing a lot of power down and you're going to be doing it with an enormous dot size.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like diode size, dot size probably, because you figure it's probably going to be in like the 06 to 070, 0.070 size.
Something like that. Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. I mean, you're looking at a huge dot compared to a lot of like the smaller lenses that fibers use. So yeah, ablation is probably still, even with a 100 watt machine, going to be a very difficult task. So a lot of it depends on what it is that you're trying to do. Are you trying to just do an anneal, which would probably be really easy, but you're going to have like a lower detail threshold.
You'd probably be fine for like powder coat.
See, I wonder too about I wonder too about warping, like just image warping at that distance too. Like, you know, I don't know. That's the throw on that. How tall of a freaking throw is that going to be?
Really big.
It's like a F550.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
So
like
you probably got like 600 plus millimeters of focal length.
Jesus Christ! Yeah,
half a meter.
That's like 2 feet, like two and some change. So yeah, you're gonna have a big ass tower too. Yeah.
But it's huge nonetheless. And
drop him in the Discord. He's asking where to send pictures.
Quick. Bo the
Drop.
Maker.
Yep, Bo the Maker. I got him. I'm gonna do
drop it in the Discord and tag us.
I did want to mention Crystal Sicky said, as a CO2 gauger guy who doesn't have a galvo fiber, this podcast has turned into a buzz of white noise with pulse width descriptions. That's what we do, baby. Also, that sounds like a you problem, my dude. Get a fiber. It's fiber time.
Great. Check out the Mind Guide.
Check out the Mind Guide.
It's like a little brother for your CO2. It's fine.
Bo the Maker. Customers looking for some deep engravings on an 18 or 24 karat gold signet ring. Anyone have any experience with this? Forgot to mention that I'm using a 60 watt fiber MOPA. First of all, I will just pitch in that we have the gold engraving guide.
That's
so if you haven't watched that, oldie but goodie. A long time ago, somebody that was very generous threw a bunch of gold my way, and I just took advantage of it. I got as much done with it as I possibly could before I sent it back to get melted down. And it's a solid starter guide. So, you know, I think that you can extrapolate from that to get some solid, clean, deep engravings. We don't go super deep in that episode, but I think it gives you enough to get started.
the only thing I would add to that, because that really is the best starting point I can think of too.
Yep.
But when you're incorporating deep engraving, the only other lessons I would add to that would be check out any of the other deep engraving specific videos we've done, or even the live streams where we've done, where we talk about auto rotation,
Yes.
cleanup passes, doing sub layers, because that's going to help you out with keeping the engrave clean and even and coming out nice the deeper you go. When you don't do that stuff and you just apply the same hatch all the way down for 20, 50, 100 layers or more to really sink something in,
A lot of slag.
it's you're going to end up with weird inconsistencies in artifacting.
Mhm.
And you're just not always going to be happy with the result. So combine the two. We got lots of resources on that.
Lots of resources. And again, and I could repeat this until I'm blue in the face, take advantage of the community. The best thing about Laser Everything is our community. We have the #1 laser engraving community in the world. We've got the smartest people saying the smartest stuff in the most friendly way. There's literally no other reason to be in our sphere that even comes close to comparing to the quality of our community members. Including our staff, but just people too, man. There's just so many people out there that are part of our community that are invaluable assets.
Oh, yeah.
So really try to take advantage of that. Links to everything down in the description, guys. Discord, Facebook group. I set up a bunch of new federated social media platforms that I'd love to have some of you guys on. If you want to experiment with me, makearmy.io. If you want to see what those options are, they're really cool. I'd love to see a couple people on there if you get the time. You can support the channel if you enjoy what we do over at masters.lasereverything.net. That's the best way to support us because, A, the money goes straight to us without getting intercepted by giant corporations. And B, did I say A? And B, and B, you get help, you get support. It's our most active support community by far. That said, if you want to support us in other ways, there are other ways to do so. They just don't come with as much of the hustle and bustle. You can find out more about those options over at lasereverything.net/support. One last shout out to our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus. We love you guys. Jackie, if you're listening, I can't wait to open your boxes. Seriously, these fucking boxes are massive. I'm really excited to open them with you guys. I think it's going to be a super, super good time. Thank you to all the people that were here live. Thank you to my co-hosts for being here with me every week. I love and appreciate you guys too, especially Anthony and his anus. I was trying to turn that into a Uranus joke, but it didn't. Like the framing of the grammar
Anthony,
wasn't right.
Uranus is beautiful.
Yeah, that would be better. All 3 brown holes. And I think that's all we've got, unless I forgot anything. You guys solid? You good? Matt's gone. All right, that's it. We're fucking off. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.